The travel restrictions for continental Europe also caught U.S. airlines by surprise. Kris Van Cleave is at Reagan National Airport. That's outside Washington, D.C. Kris, good morning. A lot of confusion overnight about what exactly this order meant, so try to parse it for us. What happened and what does it mean for American travelers?
Well, good morning. There was confusion because initially it sounded like the president had banned all travel of people and goods from Europe to the U.S. That caught even members of his own administration and the airlines off guard. There was then an effort overnight to clarify what had been said first by the Department of Homeland Security and then the White House. For American travelers, here's what you need to know. Americans will still be allowed to travel to and from Europe. They will be allowed to come into the country, but they will be subject to health screenings, likely and be funneled to the 11 airports currently doing those screenings for other coronavirus hotspots. Basically, the president's order is very similar to the one that was put into effect for travelers from China. So here, anyone who is a resident of the countries in Europe that is not a U.S. citizen will not be allowed to come into the U.S. for the next 30 days at least. Now, that does not apply to U.S. citizens, as we said. But there was a lot of confusion about that point. Anthony?
All right, Kris, the head of JetBlue, who was with us yesterday, said that even before these restrictions, Kris, the impact was already worse than 9/11. So what are these restrictions going to do, you think, for the airlines?
Yeah, that was a pretty telling statement from Robin Hayes yesterday on CBS this morning. The airlines are worried, and this is not good for their bottom line. Already, global airlines are facing an estimated $100+ billion in losses from the coronavirus. U.S. airlines are now scrambling to figure out what this means for their transatlantic service. That's usually a profit center. Certainly, we have seen demand plummet on U.S. airlines. Already one European carrier has gone out of business. And if we're talking about an impact similar to what the 9/11 attacks did to the airline business, that pushed several U.S. airlines into bankruptcy. This is not good news. And just last night, a JetBlue flight from JFK to Palm Beach had a passenger who tested positive for coronavirus. That was yet another scare for flyers. In that case, it was taken to an isolated part of the Palm Beach airport. That passenger was removed. The people on board are now being asked to self-monitor. Anthony?
All right, thanks, Kris.